games for the most part made up most of my time this week, and then one for like a more, smaller part of that. So I'll talk with one of the main ones that
Sure.
I really ended up enjoying, which was Rollerdrome. Um, this came out, I believe, last year, and ever since I saw trailers
Was it
for
a
it, I
PS
always
Plus game?
it was
Okay, okay.
recently. That's why I wanted to play it because it was like, oh, it's free now. It's also been on Game Pass, and like I've wanted to play it, but just didn't really have the time. So I threw it on the PlayStation, and I actually booted it up when some friends were over, and we were just kind of looking for something, a little casual to have on or whatever. And I started playing it, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun.
That's what
So
I've heard. That's
I
what I've
I,
heard.
I started playing it like more after the fact, and yeah, I've finished it now. And
How long is it of a game is it?
if you're just doing the main campaign, it's only like a couple of hours. Like I think my PlayStation says that I've played like 7 hours, and that's doing the main campaign and a second campaign that goes through all of the same levels again, but with like more enemies and like, higher damage, basically. So it's not like, a drastic expansion. It's so like if you're going through like the regular campaign, it's maybe like 2 to 3 hours, depending on how good you are at games like this, which
Right, right.
this is a very action heavy game. The easy elevator pitch for it is that it's Tony Hawk meets Max Payne.
Hmm.
So you're on rollerblades, you're going around these arenas doing a bunch of tricks, and you're blasting away enemies in this, futuristic blood sport kind of,
Right.
setup that they have in the game. And
It's got that like
I've
grainy aesthetic, right? Or like is that an app? Or like am I? Because I'm like trying to picture it. Like I remember it having like these kind of stark, like either
yeah,
grays and reds, and then like that kind of thing.
it's like a cell shaded kind of look,
Sure, sure.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely prominent on like red on like wood
I just pulled
panel.
it up now. I
Like
see it. I see it. Huh.
yeah, so it's
So, oh yeah, I guess Max Payne. My mind went to like super hot, but yeah, no, yeah, similar, kind
super
of just
hot
like that
kind of works
slow, the
too.
slow motion esque. But yeah, no, yeah, I see it.
Hmm. Yeah, at first, like, just watching trailers, like you see the concept on screen or whatever, and I didn't know exactly how like those two things would combine together because another game that, I did some write-ups on earlier this year was Hellskate, which is in early access. That's kind of doing the Tony Hawk thing, but with roguelike and like sword action. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how well that this will work together, but it actually works really well together with Rollerdrome.
Right.
Um, because your guns have a very small amount of ammo in them,
Mm-hmm.
and basically to reload them, you have to do tricks. So doing tricks will put more ammo into your guns. So like, your shotgun, for instance, you can only really get like I think 6 shells out of it until you have to do like some sort of trick or whatever to, reload the gun again.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's very Tony Hawk. There's like a list of optional challenges that you can complete in each level that could be like get a certain score, do this specific trick on like this area of the map, or it'll be things like, uh, stagger this enemy with a shotgun or something like that. So there's different challenges that you can do throughout. And yeah, there's a couple of different environments. That's one area that I kind of wish like the game kind of explored a bit more. Was that like we have like a desert level, an indoor kind of roller derby area, a winter level, and then they just kind of do like in a mall, like the inside of a mall, and they kind of just do different variations on that setup. So I kind of wish that it was a little bit more varied in that department. But gameplay wise, this is just one of those games that's kind of gotten its hooks into me, and it's like, it's
Right.
really like pick up and play really quick, but it's also pretty skill based. Like, if you're not paying attention, you can get killed in like 2 shots. So it's like, it's really fun, really, like I said, pick up and play. And yeah, it was paced really well. There's like a tiny bit of story. It's mainly just gameplay, but there's enough there, to kind of hook you and give
Is
you
it
a little
like
bit of
cutscenes or
backstory.
like graphic novel panels? Is it one of those things or?
So what it is before specific missions in the game, it'll do a first person sequence where you can walk around like a locker room or like
Huh.
a an area before like the match starts. Like one of them takes place on a train and stuff like that. So you can walk around and there'll be like little notes or like little things left in the environment that, just give you bits and pieces of the wider world. Sometimes you'll hear like people talking through a wall or something
Mm.
like that. So they do tiny things like that, but then it just kind of gets you into the action.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's mainly gameplay focused. I was kind of, really excited once I finished it because I was like, man, I can see where they can expand upon,
Right, right.
doing stuff in a sequel. And then literally today, Take Two announced that they are laying off and closing the studio that made it. So
Yes,
it's
I did.
like
I did have it
that
on my the thing to talk about, but yeah, no, that that is a
that stinks
that
because I was like,
absolutely stinks.
I was so hot on it, and I was like, man, like, this game was so rad. I can't wait to see what they do in the future. And now it's just like,
You
come
know,
on.
I mean, we can talk about it here. So yeah, they let's see here. Do you know? Because it was the studio that made Rollerdrome, and then it was also
It's
another one.
the studio behind
Oh, I see it. So
Kerbal Space Program.
yeah, so Take Two Interactive is planning to shutter two studios as part of a mass layoff announced last month. Now, those two are Roll 7, which is obviously Rollerdrome and Ollie Ollie World, and Intercept Games, who, like Nick just said, is Kerbal Space Program 2. And it's kind of crazy that these are like BAFTA award winning studios, and
Nobody's safe.
and Take Two is I get like you kind of have to move move stuff around, but also you have like in the next year, right, or next maybe 2 years, they will make $1 billion, right? Like it's guaranteed. You could take that to the bank. There's no world where I would imagine GTA 6 just launches with you know not $1 billion in like the first 3 days or something like that.
Right.
And
That's what
so
makes it just like sting and why it sucks whenever you keep seeing stuff like this. It's like these are like really creative teams that are doing really awesome work, and then it's just like, so why'd you even buy them if you're just gonna close them and fire everybody? Like, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, and that's what's kind of crazy. And I'm not gonna loop conversations we've had in the past back into this, but it's kind of like it kind of relates to last week's episode. I'm not gonna say much more actually. I'm gonna let that one kind of hang in the air. um, but
But
okay,
yeah,
so
just to wrap it around, I
yeah,
mean,
roll drum.
Rollerdrome, like it's awesome. If you like fast-paced action stuff, if you like, Tony Hawk like games, definitely give it a shot. Like I had such a blast, and I'm even still like it's not uninstalled yet, so like I'm still
Yeah,
dipping back in, even though
right,
I'm
right.
pretty much done with it.
It's like House Flipper too, man. That's what it is.
Yep.